Welcome to the Open Door Policy by Symmetria Miller. I will be discussing the importance of open door policy, accessibility, open flow of communication, fast access to information, closer working relationships, advantages and disadvantages, expectations, retaliation, and execution. Most companies tell you on the very first day that they have an open door policy, which means that every manager should be available to each employee. The sole purpose of an open door policy is to encourage open communication, feedback, and discussion. If an employee feels strongly about a certain situation or wants to give feedback, the employee has the right to express their concerns to a manager. This builds trust with that manager. Most employees enforce the policy to have employees trust and to be able to use the information and feedback to make the company better. Employees feel better about having a manager they have access to. Most people feel better about their jobs when they do have an open door policy. It helps the managers have insight on things that they might need to change, and all managers should be accessible. Open flow of communication. Managers should always want an open flow of communication to see how employees are focused and what new ideas they may have. To ensure that you have an open flow of communication, managers should follow making it safe to communicate, encouraging others to speak up openly and honestly without any punishment or judgment. Managers should always lead by example. They should be the ones that are always speaking openly and honestly about situations. You can also create new approaches by introducing games, suggestion boxes, and other prizes. Encourage employees to have an open dialogue and speak up and reward them with results. A famous quote is managers must be able to communicate with employees and employees must be able to communicate with managers in order to have a profitable business. Fast access to information. Most of the brilliant ideas that a company have come from their employees. In a fast-paced industry, quick access to information is always key. Employees should always ask their employees for ideas and encourage them to give information. Closer working relationships. Managers should always create positive and closer working relationships with their employees. It shows that they are human and that they care. If you have ever worked for the manager and it says that they did not care, you would not go to them for information. It is very imperative that a manager builds a closer relationship with them. Doing this makes employees feel closer to a person. They should at least tell a little story about their life, what they did for the weekend, encourage questions about themselves, just make them feel more human. When a manager asks an employee to handle a task, it makes that employee feel very important. And this is the type of relationships that business should have with their employees. Also, employees should always show that they care. Send little thank you notes, little emails, reward them with some type of um, presents or anything. Advantages. The open door policy has advantages. It reduces turnovers and maintains employee morale. It helps managers discuss expectations so there is no room for confusion. It shows innovative ideas and they're able to talk directly to their manager. When people exchange ideas and brainstorm, some great work and innovative ideas come to play. Disadvantages. Some employees use open door policy in the incorrect way. They try to spread rumors or they give irrelevant information, and most employers feel like having an open door policy is a waste of managers' time. They feel as though managers could be doing something way more important. But what's more important than the employees and how to make the company better? Having an open door policy could be quite awkward. However, it is up to the manager to control the situation. They shouldn't let the discussions go off of what it is to make the company better or what it is that is bothering that particular employee and how can they resolve that issue. Also, employees should also follow the chain of command. If it is about your particular manager, then yes, go above. But if it's about a teammate or something like that, always go to your manager to try to resolve the issue there. If that doesn't work, then go to a manager above your particular manager. Always follow the chain of command. Retaliation. Always speaking up, people may feel some type of way about that. However, retaliation is an open door policy, means that the open door policy that you are protected at all costs. The open door policy should be handled discreetly and in a professional manner. And retaliation protects employees from unlawful discrimination. Most of the retaliation policies should read, employee retaliation is completely unacceptable. Unprofessional conduct in any way while on duty or company's premises is unacceptable and may result in termination. Usually the open door policy and retaliation policy are grouped together because there are many instances where retaliation has been done upon an employee for speaking up. I went over a case that has to do with Home Depot and an employee. The employee basically went to his boss's manager and told exactly what was happening at the Home Depot that he was at. The employee then went to his manager and advised his manager that, he did speak to a higher up and explain the situations that were going on at his particular Home Depot. Later on, this employee was terminated. His manager stated that it had nothing to do with him telling the upper manager about what was going on at the Home Depot. It had everything to do with the employee's performance. So the employee did take it to court and he actually ended up winning with a settlement of $467,000. So that employee was retaliated upon. What what should have been done by Home Depot was they should have did a full investigation before terminating the employee. This would have saved them that settlement. It's clear that the open door policies are important in the work field, but what is most important is that they are being properly used. The policy should be explained at orientation when starting a job, and the employee should discuss their expectations. An employee should also lay out the advantages and disadvantages of having one, and how it will benefit the company's turnover rate, and the employees will have a sense of encouragement to speak up to make the company better. If the policy is enforced correctly, then the company will benefit from it. The employees will feel as though they have access to the managers and they will understand the open flow of communication. The best benefit is having closer relationships with people you work with. Remember, the open door policy should always be explained with the retaliation policy. The two go hand in hand.